Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld podcast. My name is Michael Simon, and I am joined for the last episode of the year by Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Ahoy there.
Hold on, Roman. Did I update
I was trying
this?
to get some energy up.
I know. Hey.
Hey, welcome to the podcast.
So we just recorded one like 10 minutes ago.
That's what I mean.
It was like an hour and a half, and now we have a second one. But we're pretending like it's the end of the year, and we have lots of energy. This is episode number 964.
Yes.
That's right, including the one we just recorded.
Yes.
All right. Episode number 964. And if you listened to last week's show, you know what this one is. We're going to talk about hardware. All the stuff Apple released on the hardware side. Last week we talked about software.
Software and services.
Everything, software and services. So everything Apple released on the hardware side, what we like, what we didn't like, what it means, all that other stuff. Then we're going to have a year-end version of the worst thing that happened this week in Apple history, and our reader mailbag. We're going to zip through the show because the last one was like 3 days long. So this was going to be quick. We're not going to spend much time on the new iPhone. Sorry. Speaking of reader mailbag, which I just said before I interrupted myself, you can contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads. Search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo, send an email to podcast@macworld.com. Comment under a video. Tell us what you think about what Apple did this year. Tell us what you want Apple to do next year. Whatever you want. We will look at those, and we'll get to them next year. If first show will be on January 7th, 8th. We don't have a show till January. Wow, we have like 3 or 4 weeks of no shows. Okay, Roman. Forget 3 minutes. Give me a minute and a half to talk about. This is our last show before 2026. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, happy whatever you celebrate. Real quick, we're off between Christmas and New Year's. Are you guys doing anything fun? Either of you? No? Roman says no.
Nothing special this year. My wife and I usually travel for Christmas. We either go to her family or my family. Both of which are 2,000 miles from here. Yeah. But this year we're staying here.
Where does her family live? I know you go to New Orleans. Is that
Kansas
her family
City?
Or your family?
Kansas City. Her mom and dad live in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. But her sisters, she has 2 sisters, and they're both married, and they both live in Kansas City, and we stay with them, and her parents come up. So Kansas City.
Do you ever see Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce walking around?
Yeah, all the time. They walk through the burbs of Kansas City like constantly.
Roman, you said no, you're not doing anything?
No, we had a big thing last year, so this year we're staying home. So, yeah.
All right, well, quiet.
In the interest of keeping this short, nope.
I don't do much either. We host Christmas. My parents and brother come up for a couple days. And then my parents come back for New Year's, and we spend New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I hate like New Year's. I don't party or drink or anything, so my New Year's Eve is very quiet. I watch whatever the ball drop show that my parents want to watch is, and that's about it. We don't do much.
We have a pretty chill New Year's as well. Usually, sometimes we can go over to our friend's house or something, but no, the days of huge big parties are behind us.
Kinda, yeah. Like we're all too old for that stuff. There was a time. It ain't now.
And it's not about staying up late because I'm up past midnight every night. Like that's just my life.
All right, good. That was pretty short, Roman, right? All right, so last show before the break, we're talking about Apple hardware. And a lot of it's kind of like software was a bigger deal this year than the hardware was. Liquid glass. I think there wasn't a ton of so they released a lot of stuff. Basically everything but a new iMac, Mac Mini, maybe iPad Mini, the mini stuff.
Yeah,
didn't do. But so they updated everything, but there wasn't anything like that was like monumental. Like they didn't have like a groundbreaking new anything this year. Right? Unless I'm missing something.
I wouldn't say groundbreaking. I think the iPhone is in the middle of like a 2 or 3 year shakeup. It just started this year, and we'll get to that when we get to the iPhone stuff. But there's some significant shakeup starting with the iPhone that will continue next year and the year after. Right. But yeah, there were a lot of chip and ship.
There were
products this year. Whether it's iPhones, iPads, Mac Studios, MacBook Pros, a lot of stuff was just like, well, it got a new processor, and the processor's great, but it didn't get fancy new displays or cameras.
We got the 3 new generations. Roman, maybe I'm wrong, but is this the first time we ever got? So we got the M3 Ultra in the Mac Studio. Mm-hmm. We got the M4. Oh, maybe we got that last year. Oh, we did. Forget it. My thing is wrong.
It's confusing because the M4 MacBook Air comes out,
right? But we already had the chip
comes out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got the M3 Ultra, we got the M5 later this year. The iPad Air has an M3. Like there's a whole bunch of generations going on. The Mac Pro still has an M2 Ultra, which is just crazy. That's $6,000, and you're getting a chip from like 3 years ago. But yeah, there wasn't. No, Jason said, like the iPhone aside, this was probably the most meaningfully updated year for the iPhone in a while.
Yeah,
but like Macs were like, okay, the MacBook Air got the M4. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean it's great. They got $100 price cut, which was nice. Everything has 16 gigs of RAM now, which is nice. Like all that, it's all good stuff. Like I'm not saying Apple didn't give us interesting and or not interesting, but it didn't give us like viable products. It's just like on the exciting front,
right?
It kind of wasn't there this year, which is fine.
Yeah, and there's some stuff that was kind of rumored that not necessarily super exciting, but just didn't get. We never got our HomePod Mini. HomePod Mini 2. HomePod Mini. Right. We never got the new AirTags.
Right.
These things were like rumored to drop right at the end of the year.
Apple TV 4K, like that hasn't been updated in a couple of years.
Yep.
That was part of that.
I'm not sure it needs to be, but you're right. It's part of that group of like, yeah, sure. Before the end of the year, they're going to drop these things. And to be fair, like they did this with the AirPods Max. They just we all thought we weren't going to get it. And then late December, they're like, guess what, you guys? And so it's possible.
That would be something if we got an AirTag next week.
Yeah. That would be something, but weird.
Well, actually, it would be last week at this point. Wait, hold on. Roman, what are you posting this?
We're in the future.
So it would have been last week if we got it, but we're recording this on the 16th. I don't think Apple's ever released anything this late into December. I might be wrong though.
Just AirPods Max.
That was when? That was like the 5th or the 8th or something. I don't think it was quite this late.
But I'm going to look up December 15th. It was the 15th. Yeah.
So it was.
Oh, wait. Announced on the 8th and then shipping on the 15th.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So they had announced it by now. So,
yeah.
But that was also a new product they would announce. AirTags 2, they would just be like, would go up on the site with a splashy thing, says like now longer range and yada, yada.
It seems strange that of all the products, AirTag, it doesn't like if they don't, by all accounts, they're done. They're ready to go. There's a new model somewhere, and they just haven't shipped it. I don't know.
And it's the one that has the least. It makes sense to wait for the HomePod Mini because they've got the big new Siri thing coming, and maybe they're going to dump all the stuff that works on Siri then. Even if it's ready to go and it's fine, they're going to. But the AirTags have none of that. The AirTags it's just going to be like longer range, more tamper resistant speaker.
Right. It'll look the same. You'll still need a case to put them on.
I don't even know that they're going to give it a name. Like they'll put parentheses second generation where they have to on a support document, but it'll just be like the new AirTags and they'll just be AirTags and you'll just buy AirTags and they'll be better now.
AirTag is, that's like the unsung hero of Apple's lineup. Like they're $20 for the most part. You can get a pack of 4 for like $80 on Amazon all the time. And they're really freaking good. So my son has a graphing calculator. He's in 9th grade math, and they're expensive. So I bought him a case. I popped an AirTag in there, and he'll know if he forgets it when he goes to class. It's fantastic. They're so good. It pops up on your phone. Oh, I've gotten that notification a million times. Like, oh, my keys are behind, or Apple stuff has it built in. So like if you forget your iPhone somewhere, it'll tell you. It's good stuff. The AirTag is fantastic. They should make it work with, maybe they do. They don't work with Android, right? There's no app for that.
They don't.
You need a iPhone.
Correct. There's no, they don't work properly with Android. They have they work together with Google on security stuff so that like if someone's got an Android, they'll still get that warning that an AirTag is following them.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody plants an AirTag on you and you've got an Android phone, you'll still get warned. They have that, but you can't, there's no way to like track your own AirTag or anything. Right. They did make it work with third-party stuff. Find My, they opened Find My to third-party stuff. And there's now all of these like great like cards you could put in a wallet, like card-shaped things and stuff like that other form factors than the little fat disc. That's super helpful, right? And there are a lot of those out there now that are like $30 or something. So it's just and those are great. Those are killer.
Yeah. So I don't know if we need a second gen. We didn't get one, but AirTag's still, the value of Apple's lineup.
It's supposed to do a handful of things that I'm glad about. Like the precision finding, meaning the ultra wideband finding will have a longer range. That's fine. Whatever. You get close enough with the Bluetooth and then it takes over. It does need the speaker needs to be harder to disable, and they are doing that. So if the rumors are true, and then it needs better reporting about how much battery life is left, and that's the other thing it's supposed to be doing. Like right now, you kind of don't know. It's just it has battery, and then it tells you it's dying, and then you're like, well, but could you have warned me when I was at 20%? Could I see the battery life level? They're supposed to address some of that. So that'll be huge. But Roman, these are nice little things.
We completely derailed the show like immediately. Like this is supposed to be looking like we turned to an AirTag preview.
AirTags are hardware.
This is what happens when we do two shows in a row. Like we're all off script here.
It's not a 2025 hardware, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at what they did. So we got 3 iPads that were iPad Air with an M3, and that was it. iPad with an A16, and that was it. And the iPad Pro just recently with an M5, and basically that's it. Like they're fine. Prices didn't increase or anything, so it's all good. But there's not much in the way of like features other than the new processor. And we've been through this before. Like iPads don't need annual processor updates. They just don't. The difference between an M2 and an M3 and an iPad Air is academic. Like you're never going to feel the difference in that performance. I don't think.
Not for that product, no. I mean, the M5 was a surprisingly good jump from the M4 and it matters in the Mac. They updated the Vision Pro with it again. They did that, and they did a strap that also goes on the top of your head. Like it wasn't. They don't even call it anything else. It's just still the Vision Pro,
right?
Not like Vision Pro 1.1. So a lot of chip and chip stuff. The chips are fine. The products are fine. I think all the excitement was in the iPhone this year.
Yeah.
And AirPods Pro 3. I mean,
AirPods Pro 3, but they were fine. We didn't get the new chip that we thought we were going to get.
It's true.
In the AirPods Pro. There's silicon tips are nice and stuff, but it wasn't really the update that we thought it was going to be. Yeah, you're right. Foam.
True.
It's okay. It was it was like everything else. It was okay. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
No, it's
still $250, and they're better, but it's not the leap that we thought our AirPods Pro 3 were gonna bring.
Yeah, but it gets interesting when we start going through the iPhone.
All right, so let's get to it.
Okay,
because that's it. Like that's the big big event. There was only 2 events this year: WWDC and the iPhone event. So the iPhone event was like the big show.
Before that, in the spring, we got iPhone 16e, right? Which was a big change. They stopped doing SEs that they're only going to release every 2, 3, whatever years. they went to a numbered release that's the same as the current generation, because 16 was the current generation at the time. And presumably because they're going to do this every year, right? So we're going to get a 17E and an 18E, and we're going to get every spring an E of the current number.
Should.
We assume.
I mean, we don't know yet because there hasn't been a second one, but we think so, yeah.
Right. That would be the point of doing this. It was a big improvement from the SE line, right? And it was the first one with their own modem. They introduced the C1, which turned out to be just fine, which is about the best thing you could say about Apple going in with a 5G modem, because it's really hard to make one. And so for them to release one and kind of nobody noticed, except for people like us who like literally test it, like everybody else is just like, yeah, it's a phone and it works. So they did that and it's fine. Nobody's going like, oh, it's too slow. Oh, I'm dropping calls. Big success for Apple. The 16E, we thought it was pretty good at the time. In retrospect now, like I would never get one when the 17 is so good.
That's part of it. So it's the 16E is $599, right? Right.
Yep.
It has a notch, not the dynamic island. It has an OLED display. It's what's the size? 6.1 inches. And it has an A17 chip. Like it's last year's internal stuff, but only one camera. And a couple of years ago, screen tech has Face ID. Mm-hmm. Like it's a massive improvement over the SE. It's also $200 more than or $180 more than the SE.
Right. But it's still $200 cheaper than the cheapest regular iPhone.
Right.
But
as Jason says, they unveiled the 17 and it got a ton of upgrades. So the 16E is in a weird position.
Yeah. So skipping forward to September, they changed up the iPhone lineup quite considerably. There's no 17 Plus, and they replaced it with this iPhone Air that has no number, which makes us all wonder what the heck is going to go on with it.
If everything,
Yeah, which we can talk about that in a second. But the 17 got everything it has been missing for so many years.
Like literally everything.
Right. It got ProMotion. It got always on. It's got the dynamic island. It got a brighter screen. The A19 is quite a bit better than the A18 was. Longer battery life. And they introduced
better
all the
selfie
iPhones.
cam, better cameras.
Right. Yeah, the selfie cam that they put on all the iPhone 17 like line and the iPhone Air is this big 18 megapixel square sensor thing that does horizontal or vertical without turning your thing, and stabilization. It's like a actual, and the quality that it shoots is better. Like it's finally a big upgrade to the selfie cam in iPhones this year. So all of that in the $799 model. I would not recommend the $599 model to anyone who just can't afford the iPhone 17. I would tell anybody it's well worth $200.
If it was $499.
Oh yeah, now you're in a whole other range.
Yeah. But I like Apple is prone to do. The first generation, they priced a little. So they did this with the iPad a couple of years ago. If you remember, it came out. It was $449, and we were like, it's $50 too much. It's really good and blah blah blah, but it's like $449. The Air is only $599, and then they cut the price by $100, and it's great. So if they come out in March and cut the price by the 17E to $499, all of a sudden it's a great phone again.
Or if it's still $599, but they do some of these other improvements, like it's got a better display, dynamic island. If they do some of these other things, it'll probably have the selfie cam, but I don't expect it'll have any of the other stuff. Yeah,
I think it'll still have a camera instead of two.
Yeah, one camera.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get promotion. I'd be very surprised.
Probably no promotion. Yeah. Probably no always on. Probably no. It probably will have the new selfie cam. Actually, no.
I think so. I think it probably will. Yeah.
Probably the new selfie cam and dynamic island, because I don't think the new selfie cams, that whole module fits up in the.
Yeah, we've heard rumors that it's going to get the dynamic island, but so the 16E was something that we had heard about for a long time. Mm-hmm. The SE was on the market for 3 years or 3 years. So like we were waiting for it and we got it and it's everything we wanted except the price is just a little bit too high.
Yeah.
$599 is just a little bit too high. And
right. It didn't seem that bad then, but then the 17 came out and the value on the 17. Also, they doubled the storage to 256 on the 17. Yeah. Like they did everything and they kept it at $799 and it's the runaway hit of the year. It's like the best iPhone in a long time. And then Pro and Pro Max, which are as expected. I mean, it's a Pro version of the chip. It's the better cameras. Other than that, it's the better cameras. It's the Pro version of the chip.
Somewhat new design with that thing, the little thing below the camera.
There's a little area in the back. Oh, the camera bump is now wide. It's like
the big camera bump and then the smaller
plateau.
Yeah, right. And the smaller thing below it. It's all right. Roman has the Pro. What do you? Well, Jason, you do too. But Roman, what do you think of the? You have the right. You have the Air and the other one. Roman, what do you think of the like the design now that you've had it for a couple months?
The design's fine. I'm not a big fan of the giant plateau.
Okay,
but I think
like this. You'd rather have a square one in the corner like they did before.
I don't know what I'd rather have because I don't like the square either. I just feel like there's a design hurdle that can't be overcome there.
I agree.
Yeah.
The plateau is kind of better because when you put your phone down, then it's, at least it's on an even. Or
it doesn't wobble quite so much.
Yeah, it doesn't wobble. So I like that better, but I still don't like it overall. But in general, the design, the design's cool. I like the orange and everything.
Oh yeah, Cosmic Orange was a big hit. And Roman mentioned this back when we had our iPhone show, like how much the cameras are great, the battery life is amazing. Like but that's what pros always were, right? So the big improvement was in the 17, and then the Air was a big change this year. It's been kind of panned for being too expensive with too many compromises, but it's the first time they really did something new with the iPhone in like 5 or 6 years. Like I don't.
It's been a while, yeah.
Like an iPhone 16 and an iPhone 12 look pretty much the same.
And even like the Mini and the Plus were just smaller and larger versions of the variations on a beam, if you will.
Yeah, to have an iPhone where they said like. It really pushed the thinness like super far, and then they totally changed the frame, and it's weirdly super strong. Like they made this thin thing, and it's the strongest iPhone they make. Which
they had to do because people were like already saying that it was gonna. Oh, there's no way that this thing's not gonna bend. So Apple was like, "Well, screw you. We're gonna make it so you cannot bend it no matter what you do."
Right. It's harder to bend than the regular iPhones. Like it's but. It's $1,000. It only has one camera. The battery life's worse. It has the A19 Pro, but of a version of it that's no faster than the regular A19. Like it doesn't really. Why'd they do that? Like, I don't know. So it would be a great $800 phone. It would be great if you were choosing between, do I want a second camera and it's fatter and it has longer battery life, or do I want to give up those things to have it be skinnier? If that was the choice, it would be amazing. But it's that, and it's $200 more.
I've gone on record. So I know you love it. Yeah, I bought it. Like I happily, like I didn't. It's not a review unit. I paid the $1,000 for it. Yeah, I love it, and it's one of those things where, if that's what you're looking for in a phone, like I pick up my son's 17. Or I think my wife has, I think it's a 16 Pro. And it's like, it's so thick and it's so cumbersome. And it sounds ridiculous.
Pro for sure. The Pro is even more. Yeah.
Like it sounds absurd because it's like, well, who cares? We've been saying that for years. Who cares how thin it is?
Right.
I'm telling you right now, man, it matters. Like the way I'm able to hold it. And part of it is because it's also a little bit smaller than the Pro. It's like kind of like has a like in between size screen,
smaller than the
6.5.
Max. It's bigger than the Pro and the regular, and it's smaller than Max. That is the Goldilocks size. I love the size of it because I find the Pro Max to be too big.
And
But
they position the camera bump or the plateau at the top where like it doesn't ever hit your hand. So it feels like you're using an extremely thin phone. And the way I'm able to use it with one hand, the way I'm able to hold it without it, like, I had the Plus. The Plus was kind of cumbersome, and then the Pro before that, like it was heavy. So like it's kind of like hits all the marks for me. I would buy it again in a second. $4,000.
I had the review unit and I used it for until last week.
Oh,
I stuck with it until last week. Last week I moved everything over to a regular iPhone 17. Mm-hmm. And every day I love it more. Like literally every single day, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I can take a photo up close to this little piece of text I'm trying to take a photo of.
That's the one thing I miss is the macro stuff.
It's just as light. It's just as one-handable, and that's partly because it's smaller. And I do love the slightly larger size of the Air more, but everything else about the regular iPhone 17, now that it has ProMotion and always on and the brighter screen and all the things, like every single day, I'm just like, if these were the same price, I would still choose this one.
Right.
And I would definitely not pay $200 more for the Air.
Would you pay $200 for like if that was $899 and the Air was $799? Let's just say in like an alternate universe, would you still?
Oh, if the Air was swapped, would I pay more for this? That's a good question. That's a good question. It'd be an interesting choice if they were the same price. I don't know that I'd pay more for the regular iPhone 17. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. But the sound is better. I watch a video and I'm like, oh, right, it's supposed to sound like that.
I didn't think when people were complaining about the lack of a stereo speaker, like I literally said, like who cares? It's a phone. No, it actually does matter.
Yeah, so you hear it every time.
The three things that do, I won't say bug me, but I do notice on the Air is the stereo speaker, the lack of a second lens, particularly for macro photography, and I do sometimes have to charge it, like at some point during the day, like a lot of the time. So like if I use it for anything other than like a normal day, I'm going to have to plug it in. And it's not a huge deal. Like I have one in my car. I got one on my desk. They plugs all over the place. But I do have to do it. Whereas I'm sure, Jason, you don't.
Not on the regular 17, I haven't even looked at a charger. It's funny how long the battery life lasts. Like I'm so used to using the Pros and the larger phones because those were my daily drivers for a while. So going back to the small phone, it's been a couple of years and they've improved the battery life a lot in the last couple of years. And so, I don't even get, I'm one of those people who, when I get to like 25%, I'm like, oh, my phone's almost dead. Oh, and I'm running and I don't even get to that. The Air, I never got to that point where every day or like I had to charge it in the afternoon. But it was right there. At the end of the day, it was always like right about to die. And I sat and I would look at it going like, well, in a year, this is not going to make it through the day. Like,
there's that too.
When this battery degrades 5%, I will be charging this thing every single day, even when I just doom scroll on social media all day.
So mine's at 63% right now, which is pretty good. So it's 3:30 where I am. But I also been recording this damn podcast for 4 hours. So I haven't touched it since like 11 o'clock.
Right.
So let me look at I'm assuming it's 100%. Geez, it better be. I'm just curious to see the battery health.
If it's
got
anything.
Right?
If it was.
It's 100.
Yeah,
I was just curious to see if it degraded at all. I probably won't have it long enough because I do upgrade every year.
Every year we're getting new.
So I'll trade it in and they'll give me $600 or whatever. But I love it, and I don't care if I'm the only one who does.
What's interesting to me about the iPhone shakeup is that this is the start of about a 3-year process where they finally, after it's got to be 6 or 7 years now, really changed the iPhone lineup.
That's what they're saying.
Instead of small, big, probably we've got this Air. We'll probably get an Air 2 next year. We're not going to get an iPhone 18 next year. That's going to get bumped into the spring of 2027. We're going to get the folding iPhone. Later in 2027, we get this 20th anniversary iPhone that's all glass, it's all the way to the edge, and the dynamic island's practically gone, or maybe it is gone. Like there are big changes to not just what the lineup is, but when they release things and everything. And it's going to take them from iPhone Air to late 2027 to get through that. But we've sort of kicked off this evolution of iPhone. That's kind of cool to me, because for year after year, it's been like, well, the chip's faster, the battery lasts longer, the camera's better. And that's what you get. There's been all these other little things like faster wireless charging or whatever. But like an iPhone at 11 and an iPhone 16 are the same.
Right. Yeah. Essentially, yeah. This could be the last year where we get 4 models in the fall. They're saying next year, just the Pro and maybe the Pro, maybe the Air, like we're not totally sure, but it's definitely going to look different.
Yeah. It's going to look different. It could be 4 because it would be the second Air, which are they going to call it Air 2, Air second generation? Yeah, what are they going to do?
Right.
But like an updated
and maybe
Air.
Nothing. If it's selling as poorly as people say, maybe they just scrap it and they say, you know what, it's not worth it to us. We'll just sell this one for another year. If anybody wants it, they'll buy it. Yeah. We'll cut the price by $100 and see.
But if they can improve the battery life a little and add a second camera, which is also rumors, then maybe it's great again. I don't know. So Air, Pro, Pro Max, and the folding phone. So 4 very different phones.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Than what we're used to. And then 2 phones in the spring, just the whole lineup's getting shaken up. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it started this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Roman, on the Mac front, is there anything like, I don't know.
It's been
I don't know what my question is, but I'm throwing it to you.
Well, I think that's indicative of the year that the Mac had. It was pretty quiet. I mean, the only real noise was that the M3 Ultra came out.
Right.
That kind of surprised everyone because it came out at the same time as the M4 Max. So they decided to make the Mac Studio high-end the M3 Ultra, not an M4 Ultra. So that kind of threw everyone off. But the MacBooks, we only got one new MacBook this year, MacBook Pro this year, the M4. We got the M4 or M5,
M5 sorry.
And then the M4 MacBook Air back in March, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was basically it. It's been pretty quiet.
There was that rumor about them making a sort of purpose-built, inexpensive MacBook.
Right.
That at first was rumored to come by the end of the year, but then that rumor kind of said, it's going to be early next year. That's really the most exciting thing going on in Macland right now, is that it's not just going to be a MacBook Air that they sell cheaper, like a cut down MacBook Air. It's going to have its own shell, its own body, and it's going to be made to be cheaper, and it's going to have an A series processor. And man, all that's very exciting, and it missed the window for 2025. So.
Right. We didn't hear any credible reports in the sense that Mark Gurman is the one that is most, I guess, reliable as far as that stuff goes. But there were reports that said maybe it's coming this year. I'm not convinced we're getting it at all. We'll see.
Oh,
I hope so. I really do hope so. But it's
save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, you're right. We keep veering into 2026
next year.
Yeah.
It's hard not to look ahead and be excited about
particularly
what's
when
coming.
As we started, it wasn't really an exciting hardware year. What's your favorite Mac of the year, Roman? Do you have one? Of the ones you tested, I guess.
The ones I tested. Well, I've been using the M5 MacBook Pro. It's a nice machine. The speed's fast. The one thing that I think you guys are kind of sliding is the 40-watt dynamic power adapter with 60-watt max.
How did I know you were gonna throw a curveball?
That's true. It's a game changer.
Well, that's how quiet it has been in terms of hardware. That's
Yeah.
So,
Jason, you tested that plug, and it kind of doesn't really do anything. Just a plug.
It's basically a 60-watt power adapter that really only guarantees that you'll get 40. Like it'll give you 60 until it gets too hot or the device. Every device is dynamic. Do that? Well, no, kind of. All the plugs will sync to the device. So like the device is like, I can't take it this much wattage, and they'll step it down. It gets really technical. Like they use a different thing that steps down in finer increments and more frequently and all that other stuff. But also if the plug itself gets too hot, it'll step down to 40. That's why they call it 40 with 60 watt max.
Okay.
But it'll stay at 60 watts for at least 15 minutes. And usually whatever you're charging will step down the wattage before that anyway. It'll use lower voltage by then. So it's basically a 60 watt power plug. It's fine. It's great little tight. It's very compact. It's cool. But I kind of still love the little dual charger that Apple makes.
Yeah, that's the best.
And a million other companies make these little chargers. But
the 35, it's only 35 watts. Is that right? 45 watts? 35.
What?
Oh,
Apple dual one?
The dual one,
something like 35.
But it's really perfect for like an iPad, an iPhone, and a MacBook Air or something. It's great.
Yeah. There's
Apple Watch. Did we talk about Apple Watch yet? Yeah.
It's been such a slow year. We just skipped over Apple Watch because Apple Watch Series 11 is the same thing as the Series 10. Like what's different? Like, and then Ultra 3, these were the same. You got Space Black, right? That was it.
Not even. I think they had that last year.
All right.
The Ultra 3 got satellite networking.
Right.
Which, it's good, I guess. But
yeah.
And it got better battery life. It has like 40 something hours of battery now. But the black titanium was, I think that was the update for the 2.
You're right. I think that was an update for the 2.
But yeah, like as Jason said, like nothing. I mean, they're good. The Apple Watches are great. Like we do this a lot when we talk about the Apple Watch.
Skip a year.
I don't know what Apple could really do to make it like radically different or better. I'll tell you what's impressive is that we're 12 generations in and the bands still work on every model. Like that's cool. But I feel like the watch is great. Like there's not a ton that could change.
I feel like that's what they'd have to do to make it an interesting change is change the shape, incompatible bands, like make a round one and the bands with a different set of bands, and you're going to keep them for 10 years, this other band design or something like that. You can make bands that are smarter. They have like some communication when you link them in, but then you have to, that's tricky to do with the water resistance and stuff. But like, there's some stuff that potentially could be done, but I mean, the one thing that everybody wants is multi-day battery life, just like,
and they're close.
Let the battery last for 4 days.
The Ultra can do multi-day, but it's big.
Yeah.
And the Series 11 now, they got up to, they rated for 24 hours. So it's at least a full day. And depending on your use, you could probably get it to most of a second day. But it's going to take some battery breakthrough efficiency chip breakthrough to really get to like realistically you need it to last like 3 days so you can take it out on a Friday, come back Sunday night and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, if you go on an overnight trip and you forgot your watch charger, it's going to be fine. Like that's what you want.
Exactly.
The display uses a lot. The chip uses a lot.
Yeah, of course.
They're getting there on the chip. They can just stop making it faster and just use all these new chip manufacturing technologies to make it.
This year's chip based on, well, actually Apple said it itself. Like it's the same as last year. Usually they give it a new name.
Yeah.
But it's the same chip. This year they actually said, you know what, it's still the S10. We're not going to lie to you. It's the same chip. So we did get a new SE3, which is really good. It got an always on display like the iPhone 17. That was like the theme of the year, adding things that were missing. So you got the always on display that you didn't have. It has 5G now. It has the S10 chip, and for $250 and sometimes $200 on Amazon, it's a really, really good entry level, or maybe not even entry level. It's just a really good smartwatch for that price, for any price. Yeah, it's good. Even if you pay $250 for it, it's
like
excellent.
it's missing the EKG or
Right.
ECG and blood oxygen, right? Is that it?
Yes. Yeah, those two things.
Essentially, like that's the main. So yeah, I get an SE for most people.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a slow year for that. So it was kind of a slow year for Apple hardware in this sense that,
we got a lot of stuff, but I was going through it, preparing for the show, and I was like there's nothing like that we could hold up and say, hey, we got this thing. Like
outside of
last year we got Vision Pro, or the year before we got, I don't know, something. But it was quiet.
Outside of the interesting iPhone developments, it was a very chip it and ship it kind of year. And then I think that is because they had plans for things that were very reliant on new Siri. And when they decided to punt on new Siri and it wasn't even going to make it in the fall, everything was, there's a lot of stuff that's almost ready to go, you know, and it's all very new Siri dependent.
Our next show will be right when the new year happens, and we'll talk about 2026. And yet next year could be, and we say this a lot, but this one, like maybe, like it looks like there's going to be a ton of new stuff. Like new stuff, not just an M5 MacBook Air.
We literally said at the start of this year, this year's going to be big because there's the new Siri and there's all this home stuff that's going to work on the new Siri. And then it got delayed. So you never know.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff right now kind of like pegged for next year. That's very interesting.
Yeah. All right. Good. I'm going to stop right there because that was a good little wrap up. Because we're going to talk for another 15 minutes otherwise. All right. Worst thing that happened this year. I don't think we have any like parameters here, but you know, Apple related, I guess.
Oh yeah, we normally do like the worst thing that happened this week.
Right.
Well, not normally when we do this segment. And since it's the year end wrap up, we're going to go for the whole year.
Yeah.
And I want to hear what Romans is. Roman, what was the worst thing this year?
Is it going to be K-pop again? Was it so bad it got both
I said mine last week. So, I think it's pretty obvious. It's the fact that Apple didn't really make any progress in AI this year.
Yeah,
because it held, like Jason just said, it's kind of like it's holding everything else back.
Yeah, literally zero progress. We're basically where we were this time last year with Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
So,
we've gone over it 100 times before, so I don't need to dive in deep.
But no, it's important to keep bringing it up because it is. It's for a company of Apple's size and stature, it's notable. But it's also like the entire world: Google, Samsung, OpenAI, even like X has Grok. Like AI is everywhere, except really on your iPhone.
That was my worst thing, was sort of the sort of iOS 18.4 debacle, because they announced these new things and it really wasn't that they ever promised Siri was going to be a smart chatbot like ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff were, but they announced these other features that sounded really amazing. Like it would build personal context about you so that it could understand what you do all the day and give you answers that related to you. It would be able to understand what's on your screen. So you would just be using your phone and looking at it and ask it something and it would understand, this is what's on the screen. They're talking about this, right? And then the third was that we're going to have this massive app intents for developer, like all these developer hooks, so that companies could build apps where Siri could do stuff within the apps in the background for you, like work within other apps. It very limited how it does it now. It can queue up songs in your Spotify and stuff, but it can't do much more. And it's not only like you said, they did ads and stuff, and then like March rolled around and everybody's like, "Where's the beta? Where is it? Where's this thing?" And Apple basically had to admit, like you said, officially, but not like press releases and stuff. They did it in like interviews and everything that like, it's not going to happen. We couldn't make it work. It basically made Siri have two brains working at the same time that weren't working. We're going all the way back and we're building one Siri based on a new large language model. And we later found out that they're working with outside companies, and they did a bake off with Anthropic at Google and all this other stuff. And we're finally going to hopefully get it this next spring. But Roman said it, that put a delay on all kinds of products and stuff that Apple was supposedly working on. And we've seen hints in the code and all this other stuff for all these like smart home products and this new home hub and all this other stuff. And it all got delayed by at least a year. And Apple was already way behind everyone. Right. So, woof.
To play devil's advocate slightly, had they shipped Siri and any of these new products and it didn't work, that would have been far worse. So True. At least they had the foresight to say, all right, hey, this is not good enough, because I don't think they recover from that. If they do this and maybe the HomePad comes with it and they have this whole push for look how great Siri is and it's not, I think that's worse.
It definitely cannot be another Apple Maps situation, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know, hoping it gets there, hoping they show everybody like we want it to be good.
And in the meantime, ChatGPT is better and Gemini is better and everyone is getting better while we're waiting for Siri. Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see. Apple has to know, like, everybody's watching them. They're not stupid. Tim Cook's not stupid. So it got about 3 months to polish this thing. It looks like March, April, and we'll see. We'll see. All right, my worst thing is completely different than all of that stuff. I'm going to pick the Vision Pro. Because the Vision Pro came out a year and a half, or was announced a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. No, it was actually that was two and a half years ago.
Yeah,
came out last February. Had a whole hype thing, you know, like, listen, it's a new Apple product. It was $3,500, and they had a demo thing in the stores, and they invited you to come try it. I don't know how many they sold, but I assume not many. And then, like, nothing. Like, they kind of removed them from stores for the most part. They didn't really promote it. They didn't really do much with it. And then September or October, they released the de facto second generation model that has a faster chip and a better head strap, which you can also buy separately. So it did nothing to it at all. The M5, there's no one who was not going to buy a Vision Pro didn't say, like, the reason why I'm not buying it is because the chip is too slow. And the head strap is absolutely long overdue. And the least it could do to make this thing wearable for more than like a half hour. But the worst thing about it, so that's bad enough. We were waiting for a cheaper model that hasn't come yet. Maybe a price cut. We didn't get that. But the worst thing is that if you bought a Vision Pro 1, there's no path to an upgrade unless you pay $3,500. There's no trade-in. There's no nothing. And that's crazy, because the people who bought that thing are Apple's most loyal customers. Yep. And they basically said, sorry, you're out of luck. You want a new one, you got to spend $3,500. So I had to assume they're going to sell precisely none of these, because I don't know anyone who would upgrade the first generation to get this one, because it's not good. Maybe they'll sell straps. People will buy the new head strap.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why bother.
Yeah, there's a few sort of enterprise applications where when they buy one, they'll buy this one because it's what's there, but they would have bought the first gen because it's what's there. Apple's doing a pretty decent job of building under the hood technology for Vision OS. They're doing a good job of building all the stuff that goes on in Vision OS to make VR and AR apps, make mixed reality experiences and stuff. They're not doing a great job.
But the frameworks and stuff that they're the
frameworks, the core technology, the eye tracking, all these things that are very, very hard, very, very behind the scenes. They're not building a great OS on top of it. It's okay, but it's and they're not building great apps on top of those. What the only thing that's really great are 3D video experiences, which you can't do for very long.
Few and far between. Yeah.
They're few and far between. They're really, really slick. You can only do so much of those. They're really trying to work to get kind of the live sports thing where you can be like you're courtside at an NBA game, but they have to upgrade some arenas and stuff to make that happen.
Yeah, right.
Because it takes a lot of bandwidth and special cameras and all this other kind of stuff to do it live. They've done some of those things where it's not live. And that's all cool. It's all coming. It's all important work that will be taken advantage of when they get the more mass market, cheaper product out. But God, we haven't heard anything about that. We don't know when it's coming. It's another like, well, maybe next year kind of thing.
Maybe not. Maybe 2027 at this point. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah. The whole Vision OS and spatial computing thing is stuck in limbo, and I think there's just like a tremendous amount of really hard work going on behind the scenes. But from the consumer side, it's in a terrible place for Apple, right?
And we said when it came out, like it's kind of like a proof of concept. Like they don't expect to sell, but now we're 2 years into it.
Right.
And they released basically the same thing that they released 2 years ago. It's like, what are we doing here? It's outrageously expensive. And I don't think it's overpriced. I just think it's expensive because it's so cutting edge and it does, the 8K and the eye track. Like there's a lot of high priced, expensive technology inside it and like technically advanced.
Yeah.
But no one's going to buy it. No one. Or as Jason says, maybe like some business that needs it for application.
There's some like
not regular
narrow
people.
Enterprise things, but not regular people, and that's a tough thing for Apple to expect from Apple, especially after the big deal they made about it.
Yeah, like they could have said, Vision Pro is $24.99. Keep the first one around and cut the price by $1,000. Maybe they'd sell a few. Instead, they released the same price and you can't even upgrade your old one. So frustrating. All right.
Frustrating. Yes.
Roman, this week in Apple history. You're muted, sir.
Sorry.
See, that happens all the time. Like on your Zoom call yesterday, that probably happened, but we do it too.
On December 20th, 1996, probably one of the most important dates in Apple history, Apple announced that it would acquire Next Software for $400 million.
Do you remember? So December 20th, that's like your year is winding down in like tech journalist land. Yeah. That's a pretty monumental announcement that happened 5 days before Christmas. Do you remember like what you were doing, where you were working, or were you working?
I don't remember what I was doing that day because 1997 was that the year? Oh, I can't remember now. Was 1997, was the following Macworld the year that where like Steve Jobs took the stage and then Bill Gates came on and and all that stuff? I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because that, so I don't remember I'm trying to jog my memory, but I can't remember where I was or what was happening when that announcement was being made. I was working for Mac User Magazine at the time, so
Steve Jobs, Bill Gates was August 1997.
So it was the following year.
Yeah.
So it was the following year. I remember that, but I don't remember this announcement in particular.
But all right, maybe Jason, you know too. Was it a shock, or did people know and it just was like a press release that finalized it? Formalized it.
Formalized it.
Formalized. That's the word I'm looking for. It's been 4 hours of this, people.
I honestly, so around that year, I was working for PC gaming magazines and stuff. I really wasn't paying attention to the whole jobless era, the whole Steve Jobs free era of I was not involved in Apple stuff at all at that time. They killed off my beloved Apple II GS line and went with Macs, and Macs were like just black and white. They weren't even grayscale. They were just black and white at first. And then they started doing all these models and stuff. So I really wasn't paying that much attention. I seem to remember it was kind of a coup, like that Jobs is coming back, that they're not just buying Next, but they're buying Next and they're kind of doing it in order to get Jobs.
Yeah.
And the other Apple engineers and stuff that he took with him to go do Next, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I remember prior to the announcement, and I remember there were rumblings of it, but the thing I mostly remember was that Gil Amelio was the CEO.
Right.
And everybody was like, oh my God, Apple needs to do something. Do something. Get this, we're crashing and burning. Because before Gil Amelio, it was it Michael Spindler?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And there were a couple of CEOs, and, there was just this free fall. And I mostly remember 1996 being, I better work on my resume because I don't know if this magazine is going to be around for the next year, because Apple just isn't, they weren't doing well. And then there were rumblings about it, but I don't know if people were counting on. I don't remember if people thought it was actually going to happen or not. I can't remember that. So
okay, well, it's probably the most pivotal moment in not just Apple, like tech history.
Yeah,
was Steve Jobs. I mean, think about all the things that wouldn't have happened if that deal wasn't made. Oh yeah, Steve Jobs doesn't come back to Apple at that moment. It's crazy to think about, like how that impacted the shape of the tech landscape for decades to come. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think there was still even when they announced that acquisition, there was still some doubt as to whether
I'm sure there was
Apple, because Next was this niche company.
Yeah.
People were like, "How is this going to translate? What does this all mean?" And
I mean, Steve Jobs didn't become like Steve Jobs until the iMac and the iPhone and the iPod. Like, he was obviously well respected and had done the Mac and was the guy at Apple. But as you said, Next was, it was there. I mean, no one really paid much attention to it. And he wasn't seen as like the visionary computer guy until 10 years later.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe the Steve Jobs movie, not the
Ashton Kutcher one,
not the Kutcher one, the other one. If you
the
believe that
Wiley one,
no, the
Michael Fassbender,
the Fassbender,
Fassbender,
one.
Yeah.
If you believe that movie, the Next was pretty much the company existed to get acquired by Apple and get him back.
Yeah,
right.
Like when they kicked him out, he hatched a plan.
What bugs me about those two movies is the Ashton Kutcher one. Like, he actually kind of looks like Steve Jobs and acts like Steve Jobs, but the movie sucks. Yes. And the other movie, Fassbender looks nothing like Steve Jobs, nor does he act like it, but the movie's really good.
It's it's much better writing.
Parse those two. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the end, Steve Jobs ends up looking like this savior and he, and in many ways he was. I don't mean that in like I guess a religious way or something like that, deity way. But, he was a business savior for Apple. But those 2 years prior was really shaky and really, I think it's hard to, that kind of gets lost in this whole thing, was that Apple was really in bad shape. And it's kind of hard to describe how bad a shape it was. It was
the only thing I knew about Apple at that time was that Simpsons joke with Nelson writes on his Newton to beat up Martin, and it translates to eat up Martha or something. That was my only reference to Apple, and it wasn't until the iMac that it put it on my iMac, and God knows how many other people. Like, the iMac was the thing that and Johnny Ive had a lot to do with that, of course, but Steve Jobs had the vision to bring it to market.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about earlier this episode about how Apple had a lot of chip it and ship it products this year. And like, imagine if Apple had 4 years of that. Like just creating more and more products for more and more price segments that are just the same thing, but just like a little bit better with a new chip. And that's kind of where Apple was at. And that's when they bought Next and Next came back. That's what their roadmap was. Yeah. Like they didn't have this is not doing well. Let's shake things up. Like no, it really wasn't the plan. So it was Jobs that came back and said, we got way too many products. We're doing everything wrong. We're not, simplified, doubled down on some narrow things. It really worked. It was, they really needed that.
Yeah.
And they went through multiple CEOs in just a few years.
And, it was chipping and shipping for computers that nobody were buying, for one.
Right.
And, you can say like Steve Jobs had this vision. He also had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted because you just said the company was basically bankrupt. So he had to swing for the fences. And, he did. And he did a ridiculously good job doing it. All right. Roman.
Mailbag.
The last reader mailbag of 2025.
So we were just talking about legacy, and last episode we were talking about, or not last episode, the episode before last episode, I think
it was June was the last time before we started recording today.
Yeah. We talked about some of the management changes that were happening at Apple, and the topic of Tim Cook's legacy kind of came up, and people had plenty of thoughts on this. And I like to say that before I preface this by saying that people tend to be negative on the internet.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't noticed that.
In case you didn't notice that. So with that in mind, Johnny Five.
Apologize to Tim Cook before we start this segment.
Please don't take it personally, Tim. But Johnny 5_75 on TikTok said he's already at a pretty low note with iOS 26. Pattiest Power on TikTok said releasing the Vision Pro flop, fumbling AI, releasing a meh OS reskin, and capitulating and causing the fastest. That's his legacy.
I mean, that all happened in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
That was sort of our point, was that
recency
and there's
bias.
all these people leaving. This is the turning point. It either ends, his story either ends with that reputation, or it ends with a revitalization of Apple. Yeah. The next year really kind of writes how Tim Cook's story ends.
Chicken Fried Steak 40. I never thought in my career I'd be saying, I always thought.
Chicken Fried Steak 40.
Chicken Fried Steak 40 on TikTok said, Tim Apple should have been replaced years ago. He may have kept the profits coming short term, but long term, he did so much damage to the brand. And Peter Windelin on Facebook
That's a
said,
bold statement. Chicken Fried Steak 40.
I know.
Peter Windelin on Facebook said, if you want to know what Tim Cook's legacy is, it's continued growth and stability, nothing more.
I mean, that's true.
That's true, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
No, depends on what kind of Apple you want.
Right, that's true.
He really did build Apple from the company that was this underdog. As popular as it wasn't huge. Yeah. It was the underdog.
It was pretty big. It wasn't this big by any stretch, but it was
big. But
the iPhone was rolling. The iPad was rolling. They were doing quite fine in 20.
The iPhone was rolling like 10 million units a year, 15 million units a year.
Yeah.
They sell 70 million iPhones a quarter now.
Right. I know. Yeah.
So he 10x'd the company. And he built it from the company that was always the underdog to the IBM that they were always really against. The big dog of tech that, even if they're not the richest company, I mean, NVIDIA's rolling in AI money, among the richest, a multi-trillion-dollar company that is definitely the most influential.
Yes.
Like regardless of you could say more Windows laptops are sold, but people do what Apple does with the MacBook. Like everyone follows Apple. So
that comment that said
chicken fried
listed
steak.
off all the things. No, one before that about all the things that
Patty has power. Yeah,
his legacy is this, that. They're going to announce their earnings in about a month and a half, and I guarantee you it'll be the highest quarter they've ever had, ever. It'll be like $120 billion or something in revenue. I guarantee.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Now, so when does that? Now going to the one after chicken fries, the short-term legacy. Like when does the short-term profits end? Because I do agree with that in a sense. At some point, that growth is going to reach a cliff because, as we just talked about for the last hour, a lot of Apple is in cruise control. And not all of that cruise control is heading in the right direction. And, your steering's a little off. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And does Tim Cook stick around long enough to steer it back? Or does he just say, you know what, I did what I was told to do.
Oh, yeah.
Or I did what I promised I would do, and I'm done.
Do we need somebody else? Do we need, as we talked about Steve Jobs, do we need somebody else to come in and say, although they're in a very different position, like you said, they're wildly profitable now, but do we need somebody else to come in and shake things up in order to continue to grow or get into new areas? People don't give Tim Cook credit for expanding the areas in which, not just their profitability or size, but like Apple Watch is Tim Cook, AirPods is Tim Cook. Like these are massively,
as well as privacy and accessibility and all the things that they do. Yes.
But I'm just saying just products. Like the AirPods is a Fortune 500 company on its own, just AirPods. Like, and that's a Tim Cook thing. Like that's so, it'll be interesting. Like you said, we're in a world right now where there's just a lot of chip it and chip it. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we get over this AI hump, if we do, and get into the other products that we keep hearing they're working on. That thing that like the robot lamp with a personality thing that we showed off, and it won't be a lamp, it'll be a screen, but like, man, I want that. That's a whole new product. That's a whole new genre of thing. Right. So we'll see. We'll see what they get to market, out of this.
Right. And, just to put one more period on this, like Steve Jobs did a lot of great things. We just talked about Next and coming back. The last great thing he did was to promote Tim Cook to CEO because he knew trying to replace him was an impossible thing. He's not going to find someone that had the same charisma, the same vision. But Apple was on this precipice, like Jason said. They weren't a massive company, but they certainly were looking up. And Tim Cook was the perfect guy to bring him to this level. And now maybe we need someone that's more like Steve Jobs and can see a vision and can take some risks, maybe a gamble or two, and really take Apple into the next, 25 years.
Yeah. One could argue the Vision Pro was their attempt at a gamble, and it was the completely wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, It's just too expensive. I mean, they have to. Yeah. They must have known they're not going to sell many of them.
Right.
It could have been the greatest thing ever made. Like, that's just too much. The iPhone was $600 and people said it wasn't going to sell.
Right.
I mean, that's a ton of money. Even in 2025 money, that's a lot. All right. That's it, people. 2025 is done. We're closing the door.
Have a great holiday. We'll see you in a few weeks.
I screwed up my numbering. This is number 964. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy whatever you celebrate. New Year. Happy New Year. All those things. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Mike.
And thank you, Roman. And thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Roman. I didn't give you a chance to say anything.
That's all right.
And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. This was a fun year. We rebooted the podcast. Things are a little different. This was fun. You can subscribe to the Macworld Podcast to listen to us all throughout 2026 in the podcast app, on Spotify, on YouTube, at the Macworld Podcast channel, or through any other podcast app. If you have any questions or comments about what we just talked about and what we're going to talk about in 2026, contact us through Blue Sky Facebook threads. Search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo, send an email to podcast at macworld.com. Comment under a TikTok video, comment under a YouTube short, reel, whatever. Just get in touch with us in some way. And that's it. We will see you for the next episode of the Macworld Podcast next year as we talk about everything in the... I screwed it up one last time before the year was up. Join us next year in the... all right, hold on. I'm going to rewind and start this whole thing. Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast next year as we talk about the latest in the world of Apple. See you next time.